There are some spots on this big, spinning ball of dirt we call Earth that you just don't want to go near. I'm talking about lakes that are so toxic, they'll make you wish you never took that swim. Caves that'll cook you up faster than a microwave burrito. And don't even get me started on those radioactive islands where the rats are just waiting to give you a medieval disease like it's the 14th century. Now, I'm not trying to scare you off traveling forever, but after you watch this video, you'll be canceling your vacation plans quicker than you can say, refund. Trust me, you won't believe the wild ride our planet can take you on. And hey, once you're staying home and binging YouTube anyway, might as well hit that subscribe button so you'll have more fascinating videos to keep you busy. Anyway, let's jump right in. If you're gearing up for a road trip, there's one road you might want to skip on your itinerary. Yungas Road in Bolivia. They don't call it Death Road for nothing. This nightmare of a track winds its way along sheer cliff faces, towering over 15,000 feet above sea level. And in some spots, it's barely wider than your average sidewalk, with no guardrails to save you from a bone-chilling 2,000-foot plunge into oblivion. But wait, there's more. Dust clouds kick up from the poorly maintained track, making it harder to see than your grandma's glasses after a steamy sauna session. And just when you think it can't get any worse, the humid winds from the nearby rainforest whip up rainstorms and mudslides. Despite its reputation for sending folks straight to the pearly gates, you still see daredevil drivers giving it a go. And back in the 90s, it was like a real-life Final Destination movie, with 200 to 300 unlucky souls meeting their end every year. Bolivia finally got the memo and built a newer, safer road in 2006. Most people with common sense opt for that one. But if you're feeling particularly reckless and decide to take on Death Road anyway, which, by the way, is technically illegal, but hey, who's counting? Just remember one thing. There's no turning back once you're on that ride. You'll be praying for a U-turn, but trust me, you won't find one. Now here's a little gem of a deadly destination, Cave of the Crystals. Nearly 1,000 feet beneath a mountain, nestled snugly in Nacre, Mexico, lies an underground marvel bursting with milky white selenite crystals. Formed over millennia as volcanic minerals danced with water and cooled off, creating these colossal crystalline beauties. But hold your selfie sticks, folks, because as enticing as these crystals may seem, stepping foot into this cave is like diving headfirst into an oven. I'm talking temperatures that could rival a sauna, reaching up to a toasty 113 degrees Fahrenheit. And if that's not enough to melt your ice cream, the humidity hits a whopping 99%. That's right, you'll be sweating like a marathon runner before you even finish your first selfie. Now, I'm all for a little adventure, but surviving more than 10 minutes in this sauna of a cave is about as likely as finding a unicorn riding a rainbow. Heat stroke, organ failure, and a one-way ticket to the great beyond are all on the menu if you decide to brave the heat. So, while those crystals might look like they're straight out of a fairy tale, I'll stick to admiring them from the safety of Google Images. Thank you very much. Let me tell you about a little piece of paradise off the coast of Brazil. Well, it's paradise if you're into heart-pounding, adrenaline-pumping terror, that is. Officially known as Ilha da Queimada Grande, but more commonly referred to as Snake Island. And let me tell you, it's not exactly a tropical getaway you'd find in the travel brochures. Beneath the lush greenery lies a slithering nightmare of around 4,000 deadly serpents, just waiting to turn unsuspecting tourists into involuntary pin cushions. These aren't your run-of-the-mill garden snakes. Oh no, we're talking about golden lanceheads, a rare breed of pit viper known to be the stuff of Latin American legends. Their venom? Well, let's just say it's not exactly something you'd want in your morning coffee. It's got hemotoxins that'll turn your flesh into a gooey mess faster than a microwave on overdrive, and you'll be pushing up daisies in less than an hour. How did these serpents end up on this isolated island? Well, once upon a time, Snake Island was connected to the Brazilian coast, But then Mother Nature decided to play with the sea levels, leaving these snakes high and dry. And boy, did they make themselves at home. With no predators and a buffet of seabirds to feast on, these slithery fiends multiplied like, well, snakes on an island. The risk of becoming a serpent snack is so high that they've banned human visitors. Let's just say, I'm not exactly shedding any tears over that. Imagine a place so scorching, you could fry an egg on the ground and have it sunny side up in no time. Welcome to Death Valley, California, where the temperatures make Satan himself sweat. The heat is so intense, it's been known to reach a whopping 134 degrees Fahrenheit, making it the hottest spot on Earth. It's a your face is melting off kind of heat. You see, Death Valley's got these deep craters that trap pockets of scalding air, and with 4 mountain ranges keeping rain clouds at bay, it's drier than a Mormon wedding. If you're thinking of braving Death Valley for a little sightseeing adventure, think again. Every year, about 1 to 3 unlucky souls kick the bucket from heat stroke and dehydration. And that's not even mentioning the critters lurking in the shadows, ready to make you their next snack. Rattlesnakes, scorpions, black widows, and even mountain lions call this place home. Sounds like a party, doesn't it? And if you do decide to visit Death Valley, I've got one piece of advice for you. Keep your shoes on. Yeah, you heard me right. In 2017, some poor soul decided to go barefoot and ended up in the hospital with 3rd-degree burns. The ground was so hot, it could cook a steak faster than a Michelin star chef. And don't even get me started on the fried egg phenomenon. Sure, it's a cool party trick, but do yourself a favor and bring a packed lunch instead of using the desert as a frying pan. Trust me, your stomach and the park rangers will thank you for it. Let's dive deep into the Mariana Trench, the deepest point on Earth. 1,500 miles long, 44 miles wide, and filled with more creepy crawlies than a haunted house on Halloween night. Situated in the South Pacific Ocean, this bad boy descends a whopping 7 miles into the Earth's crust. To put that into perspective, if you dropped Mount Everest into it, the peak would still be drowning 7,000 feet below sea level. Before you start planning your underwater adventure, let me give you the lowdown. The Mariana Trench isn't a typical swimming spot. With sunlight unable to pierce its depths, the water down there is darker than your ex's sense of humor and colder than your in-laws' reception. Oh, and did I mention the pressure? 8 tons per square inch, which is like having a freight train parked on your pinky toe. Ouch! Fewer people have ventured to the bottom of the Mariana Trench than have won the lottery. We know more about what's happening on Mars than what's lurking in these dark waters. You know a place means business when it's got a name like the Skeleton Coast. So let's dive in, shall we? 16th century Portuguese sailors dubbed it the Gates of Hell and the Bushmen of Namibia. Well, they called it the land God made in anger. Yikes. Fast forward to today, and it's still known as the Skeleton Coast. And it's not because of its vibrant nightlife or sunny beaches. No, sir. This slice of coastline is part of the Namib Desert, a desert so unforgiving, you'd be lucky to find a drop of drinkable water, even though you're practically swimming in the ocean. If the scorching heat doesn't get you, the local wildlife just might. Desert lions, hyenas, cheetahs, and jackals, all with an appetite for lost travelers. And those bleached bones scattered across the sand? Yeah, those aren't for decoration, my friend. They're a grim reminder that this place lives up to its name. And if you think surviving a shipwreck sounds like a stroke of luck, think again. With 1,000 rusting shipwrecks littering the coastline, it's like a maritime graveyard out there. Blame it on the treacherous waters, with their hidden rocks, thick fogs, and winds that could blow you halfway to Oz. Imagine surviving a shipwreck only to be faced by a lion with a bone to pick. Life's not fair, folks, and neither is the Skeleton Coast. The lengths we go to for that perfect Instagram shot, am I right? But if you're the adventurous type looking to up your selfie game, let me introduce you to the Devil's Pool, right on the brink of Victoria Falls in Zambia. It's like nature's own adrenaline rush, with just a narrow strip of rock keeping you from a 354-foot plunge into the churning waters below. Talk about living life on the edge. Now, before you go all in for that epic photo op, here's the lowdown. Mid-August to December is your window of opportunity when the pool is relatively tame. But let's not get too cocky. Slippery rocks and acrobatics don't mix well, folks. Trust me, you don't want to attempt a handstand and end up doing an unintended swan dive. Come January to July, though, and things start heating up. Zimbabwe's rainy season brings rising water levels and currents that could sweep you off your feet faster than you can say, likes. And as if that weren't enough, you've got crocs and hippos chilling in the nearby Zambezi River, just waiting to photobomb your aquatic escapade. So, ask yourself, is that heart-stopping selfie really worth it? I mean, sure, the likes might pour in, but is it worth risking life and limb for a few seconds of social media fame? Hey, I'm not here to judge. Just remember, when it comes to the Devil's Pool, sometimes the devil really is in the details. Picture this, a picturesque tropical paradise with sun-kissed beaches, swaying palm trees, and, oh, just your casual giant concrete dome brimming with radioactive leftovers. Wait, what? Yep, welcome to Runit Island in the Marshall Islands, nestled in the Pacific Ocean, a radioactive gem between Hawaii and the Philippines. Back in the day, from 1946 to 1958, the US military decided it was a great idea to use this idyllic setting as their personal nuclear testing playground. Spoiler alert, it didn't end well. Fast forward over 60 years, and parts of this once pristine paradise are still off-limits due to radiation levels that make Chernobyl look like a day at the spa. So, did the US come to the rescue? Sort of. In 1977, they attempted a cleanup job by chucking all the radioactive junk under a massive 350-foot concrete dome on Runit Island. Classy, right? But that makeshift solution, it's already cracking like a cheap Halloween costume, threatening to leak radioactive goo all over the place. And if you thought that was the stuff of nightmares, let me introduce you to Vozrozhdeniya, an island near the Aral Sea. Back in the Soviet Union days, they thought it'd be fun to play around with deadly biological weapons like anthrax and plague. Fast forward to now, and these deadly bioweapons have seeped into the soil, infecting the wildlife. The bubonic plague-infested rats there are just waiting for someone to come exploring. It'll be like, hey, COVID, hold my beer. Meet the elephant's foot, the ultimate party pooper of the Chernobyl disaster. Back in 1986, when Chernobyl decided to throw the world's most disastrous nuclear party, this elephant's foot was the unwanted guest that crashed the whole shindig. When the number 4 reactor went kaboom, it spewed out all sorts of radioactive nastiness, including this blob of doom. Fast forward to today, and this area is still so radioactive that even Superman would think twice before strapping on his cape. You'd think, surely they've dealt with that thing by now, right? Well, not really. In 2019, they finally built a fancy steel dome called the Chernobyl New Safe Confinement to keep this radioactive monster in check. But step inside that dome, and you're toast, literally. In just 30 seconds, you'd start feeling woozy. 2 minutes in, and your cells would start dropping like flies. And if you're feeling brave enough to stick around for 5 minutes, well, let's just say they'd be your last. This is one elephant in the room you definitely want to steer clear of. the infamous Bermuda Triangle, where ships vanish into thin air and planes take unexpected detours. It's like the ultimate mystery buffet for conspiracy theorists, serving up tales of sea monsters, UFOs, and ancient civilizations gone rogue. But before you cancel your next cruise, let's separate fact from fiction. Sure, the Bermuda Triangle has its fair share of spooky stories. Over 50 ships and 20 planes have allegedly vanished without a trace in this North Atlantic playground between Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico. But are we talking about a portal to another dimension or just a rough neighborhood for seafarers? Turns out the real danger lurks in the North Atlantic's unpredictable weather. Sudden windstorms called white squalls and water tornadoes, known as waterspouts, are like the neighborhood bullies, ready to pick a fight with any boat or plane that dares to cross their path. With the flip of a weather switch, these bad boys can cause havoc, wreaking structural damage or sending vessels off on unexpected joyrides. So while the Bermuda Triangle might not be home to man-eating whirlpools or alien hotspots, it's definitely got some tricks up its sleeve. Next time you're sailing those waters, keep your eyes on the forecast and your fingers crossed, because in the North Atlantic, Mother Nature's the real boss, and she's not one to mess with. What about you? What's the craziest place you've ever visited? Share your tales of travel woe in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more questionable vacation ideas and other wild adventures. Safe travels, folks.